Hi, in this video, we will look at configuring single sign-on and multi-factor authentication with Cisco SD-WAN. For the purpose of this demo, I'll be using PingID as my SSO and MFA provider. To enable single sign-on or SSO, the first thing that we need to do is to go to settings and enable SSO. Let's click enable and download the metadata which will be required while configuring our application on the SSO provider. Now let me log into the Ping console. The first thing that we need to do here is to define a directory. Let's go to setup. Ping allows us to use a wide variety of IDPs. For this demo, I will just use the built-in ping1 directory. Select ping1 and click next. Here, let's map the attributes. We will select both the phone number and secondary email and map it to email. Let's click save. Let's go to users. Let's go to groups. Let's create a new group called netadmin, which will have full access to vManage. Similarly, let's create an operator group, which will have only read-only access to a vManage. Now let's go to users. Let's add a user. Give it a password. Let's create an admin username and map it to our netadmin group. Let's click save. Let's create one more user. Let's call this SD-WAN operator. And let's map it to our operator group. Click save. Let's go back to our dashboard and configure application for single sign-on. Let's add our application. Let's click new SAML application. Let's call this vManage. Let's give it a description. I'll just use the category as others. I'm not going to add any icons. Let's go to the next step. Here we'll use the SAML metadata we downloaded from our vManage. Let's choose SAML 2.0. We'll leave the certificate as the default. Let's upload our SAML data that we downloaded. Once you upload the metadata, it will populate the relevant fields. So let's quickly check that. So you have the ACS populated, you have the entity ID that is populated, and you have the logout endpoint as well. The binding type should be redirect. For this demo, I'll just remove encryption. I'll leave these at the default, and I will enable force re-authentication. Let's click continue. Here we'll add our attributes. Let's call our first attribute as username. And map it to email work. Let's add another attribute called groups. And map it to member of. Let's also click advanced. And here we'll use the function as get local path from email. Save. Let's click the required checkboxes. Let's continue. Let's add our netadmin and operator directory. Continue. Now we have all the necessary details defined for a SAML application. Let's download the SAML metadata from our SSO provider, which will then be uploaded into vManage. Let's click finish. The single sign-on is now active. Let's go back to vManage and upload the metadata that we downloaded from our SSO provider. Click save. That's it. Our integration is done. Let's open a new window and try to log on to our application. As you can see, whenever we try to access our application, we are getting redirected to a single sign-on page. Let's give our username and password. Since this is the first time login, we'll be asked to change a password. So let's change it. And now we can log into our vManage. Now since we logged in as SDWAN admin, we should have full privileges on vManage. So let's quickly check that by going to templates. And here you can see that I can create templates. Now let's log off and try to log in as an operator. Let's use the SDWAN operator ID. So we'll be asked to replace our passwords. Again, we have successful authentication. Now let's go to templates again. And this time you don't see the create template option. That means we have only read-only access to our vManage. Now let's add multi-factor authentication to the single sign-on. Let's go back to our Ping console. Let's go to dashboards. Click configure PingID for multi-factor authentication. Here, let's go and click edit. Just enable authentication policy. We'll be authenticating with PingID. I will leave the application filter to all cases. And I'll choose my application as vManage. Let's click save. That's all we need to do to enable multi-factor authentication. Let's try logging onto vManage again. Let's log in with our username password. And now we are being redirected to multi-factor authentication onboarding. So let's click start. Ping offers multiple ways for MFA. You can actually download an application and have Ping send you a push notification for multi-factor authentication approval, or you can use an email. For this demo, we'll just use email. Let's enter the email address where we want to receive a code. Let's click next. A Ping will send an MFA code to the email address. I've got a notification from Ping, so let's copy the MFA code. Now we have successfully added MFA and authenticated to vManage. Thus, using SAML, it is very easy to do single sign-on and add multi-factor authentication for secured access to vManage. That's it for this demo, and thanks for watching.